So welcome back to the channel, Quant Apprenticeships. In this video, I'll be going through how to make your first dividend portfolio on Trading 212. In this video, I've chosen 20 of the best stocks from both UK and USA that I think that you should make a pie in Trading 212, which will both grow in stock value but also in dividend appreciation as well. So let's get into the video. So why dividend investing? What is so attractive about dividends? So a dividend is a portion of a company's profits that are paid out regularly to shareholders. This could be monthly, annually, it could be quarterly. Normally it's quarterly, but what it is, it's a small amount of the profit that they make being paid back to you as a sort of appreciation or thank you for being invested in the company. What you can do with this money is if you reinvest it back into the company, as well as any other money you put in, it's sort of like a snowball effect because you're sort of adding more and more and more. And this will lead to the compounding effect, which means as you continue to add, it will not just grow the share price, but because of your dividends being reinvested, it will grow even more and compound even further, which will result in greater profits being made over a longer time period. For us being young, 20 years, 30 years, let's say, you would really see the effects of dividend investing, specifically the compounding effect. The main benefits are it's a passive income stream, so if the stock goes up or down, you're still getting those consistent dividends. It will compound, it will beat inflation just because the stock price could fluctuate. I've chosen growth stocks just because we want the growth to the stock to grow, but also we want an extra income which can be through dividends. And because dividends are being paid out, it really reduces volatility just because there's less upside or downside. It's more clear. So before we get into it, it's a disclaimer, this video is just for educational and informational purposes. Investing in the stock market can be dangerous and there are risks to it. So before you invest, do your own research, but let's get into my choices. So as you can see now on screen, I've gone with about 20 stocks split 50-50 between US and UK. Big from the UK, I've chosen UK stocks just because you're not affected from the FX rate. But I think US stocks are usually seen as more attractive just because they've historically grown more and the S&P 500 is better than the FTSE 100. But I've gone for an equal amount just to make it fair. About 40% of this company I've chosen is an S&P 500 ETF, whereas the rest are sort of equally put together, about 3-4%. And as you can see, the companies that I've chosen all operate in different sectors. This is to reduce the volatility and make it more attractive over long term. If certain things go up or down, we'll have a nice consistent basis. Some quick definitions before we look at the companies I've chosen. Dividend yield is a financial ratio which shows how much a company pays out in dividends compared to its share price. The dividend yield is normally a percentage, which translated across is the amount you get paid physically in pounds or pence. Consumer staples defensive is where the company is less sensitive to economic cycles, so it's normally companies that you always need, like you might always need a toothbrush, you might always need some food or something. These are companies like Unilever or Greggs that will always be there because you always need it depending on whatever happens. Cyclical refers to industries where their financial performance is dependent on what's happening outside in the economy. So if things are going bad, the stock price might drop, or the view on the company might seem worse, which could later affect the growth or the dividends. Value companies are when a company seems undervalued or cheap. Intrinsically, it seems like it shouldn't be trading at that price. It should be trading much higher, which is like there's a lot of companies I've chosen that currently seem undervalued that pay dividends. So as the company will grow, the stock price will grow and the dividend payment should grow as well. Hopefully, you never know what's going to happen. Commodity driven is where a company whose revenues and profits are influenced by other factors. The company I've chosen for this is BP, and what could affect this could be the raw materials, could be transportation, could be things that aren't to do with the company but really affect the company and how the company is run. So let's now dive into the portfolio and see which companies I have chosen. So jumping right into the portfolio, the first stock that I've chosen is an ETF. This will make up about 40% of the pie, and what I've chosen is VUSA, which is a S&P 500 ETF which pays a dividend with about a 1.5% dividend yield. It might seem low, but what this is, it's a constant dividend which will always be paid out because it's an ETF that tracks 500 companies, which means that it's very diversified. The benefit of this is the stock price as well won't start flying up or flying down. It will stay constant, and with the average return of about 7-8% yearly, it will continue to rise. So as the stock price rises, you will also have a dividend that will rise, together with the same stock price. We want this to be the main part of the portfolio just because of how reliable it can be. So the next three stocks I've chosen within the consumer staples section are B&M, Unilever, and Greggs. These are three companies that are British companies, which should be well known. They're three companies that will always be there, will always be in need. People will only need food or products, or even like shopping, cheap shopping. These are companies that are very strong and have really reliable and stable earnings and are, well-known brands that we should all know. They have decent dividend yields of about 4% on average. These are three companies that also, with being British, won't affect us with any FX rates, which means that any growth that we get will be straight hours and not, having to pay a certain amount on that. So these are three companies that I think are very good. You got Unilever, which has been consistently growing, and I think B&M and Greggs right now are undervalued. So I'm hoping that these will both grow in the future, and the three of them consistently together will pay out a decent, reliable dividend. And together, these are three decent picks. So the next two stocks I have chosen are within the utilities, and this is National Grid and United Utilities. These are two very strong companies that have been around for a long time. Two companies that will always again be around and that we will always need, because everyone needs water, everyone needs electricity, somewhere to get rid of sewage. The two companies with again strong dividend with about 5% on average, and they're both British companies as well, which means that we can take advantage of that, not having to pay any conversion rates. These two companies I think are essential to be in your portfolio just because of how reliable they can be, especially when it comes to paying a good dividend. So within the healthcare sector, I've gone with J&J and Novo Nordisk. J&J is a company that's known as a dividend king just because it's been around for such a long time and it's grown its dividend for so many years consistently. With Novo Nordisk, it's a company that I would say that is pretty undervalued right now. Its yield is alright at 2.6%, but it's definitely a growth stock that I can see growing in share value, but also paying that dividend consistently. These are two companies that operate in the healthcare system, with Johnson and Johnson more products and Novo Nordisk known for their research and development as well as their diabetes work. In the financial sector, we have two companies. The first one is Visa, which if you check around, it is a company that is in pretty much every dividend portfolio just because of how it's always projecting good growth in both its share price and dividend value. The second is Lloyd's, which offers a good dividend yield. Both of these together are two good companies that really work together. One, they're both banking companies, but they sort of operate in different ways. One from either digital or Lloyd's being a high street bank. Together, they are very good, strong companies that because of the the way that they work and the sector that they're in, they always offer a good dividend. The only problem is they can be sensitive to what's happening out in the world, and if let's say things would begin to get expensive, the share price could drop, or even the dividend yield could be affected. But historically, they've been very good choices. So for the industrial sector, I've gone with Caterpillar, Rolls-Royce, and Waste Management. These are three different companies, but it basically offers everything that you need from aerospace to machinery. You have Caterpillar that creates the machines, like you should know all the diggers and stuff. Rolls-Royce is a British company known for the aerospace and their cars, and then Waste Management again operates in US, but it's a strong company as well. These are three companies that although they do offer low yields, I can see comfortably growing both share price and the dividend yield. Over time, I can see these as being very good, strong, stable companies and will make a good foundation within your portfolio. So within the energy part, I've only gone with BP. It's got a good yield at 6.7%, and It's a company that has been around for a very long time, but it has also provided a good, strong dividend, a reliable dividend for a very long time. The only problem is the field that it operates in, which means that its performances are connected to what's happening outside with the economy or the market, but it's really dependent on what happens there. It's a company that I want to go with one company just because of how, it could be either, but with a good, strong dividend, this is another company that really should be in your portfolio, and being British, it makes it even better. So I think two of my favorite picks from this dividend portfolio are going to have to be Realty Income and Vici Properties. These are both companies that operate in America, and what these are basically just rental income companies, like if you're collecting rent, but these are actual stocks where you get money from. Vici Properties pays quarterly, but Realty Income pays monthly, which is very, attractive. They have a decent dividend yield of about 5.5, nearly 6%, which is very high. And because of the reliable income from having a high cash flow where they have to pay out a dividend just because they can't really do anything else with it, they've always had a reliable dividend that always gets paid, and it's been growing for many years. So next up, we have communication services, which is Google and BT. Google is a company that we all know, also known as Alphabet. It's a company that I would say right now is quite cheap. And just because it's recently started paying out a dividend, which is quite low, but I can see it growing, I've chosen it just because of the stock price appreciation that should, come, hopefully, but also the dividend yield, which hopefully will continue to grow as well. BT being a British company, it makes it attractive, but we're having a decent yield at 4.7% and offering a subscription service, which means that as that grows, the actual company will grow, which means, a higher dividend can be paid out, but also the stock price should appreciate as well. So these are two companies I can really say are more growth focused, but consistent as well. That really makes them attractive. So the last stock that I've chosen is Nike within the consumer discretionary section. It's got a yield of about 2.7%, but the reason why I've chosen this is because I see this as quite undervalued right now. It's dropped quite a lot this year, and I think it's at quite a attractive price right now to be bought. Because it's a company that sells really non-essentials, it can be either here or there, but being such a strong popular brand, it means that a strong consistent dividend pay is going to be paid out very likely. This is why I've chosen this company, and this makes up the 20 companies I've chosen for my dividend portfolio. So now looking at the potential value of our portfolio over the next 5, 10, 20 years, as you can see, after putting in £48,000, we're looking at about 13 or 12% growth annually. You could have a portfolio roughly around £275,000. Now, this is dependent on what happens in the market. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 20 years, but even this estimate is very positive. For £48,000, £200 a month, which is, doable, just invest into this pie consistently and reinvest in the dividends, it could be a good growth. As you can see on the right side of the table, in about 20 years, we'll be making 12,000, nearly £13,000 alone a year from dividends. This is from the dividends growing. The companies I have chosen are undervalued growth stocks, most of them, and some of them are high yield stocks, but put together, these are companies where the stock price will appreciate, but also you'll be paying a dividend, and the dividend is the reliable thing, which takes a lot of the risk out of it, because £12,000 be getting paid for free for no reason is free money basically at the end of the day. But because if you stay consistent with it, putting in £200 a month over 20 years, even you go further, 30, 40, you will see the compounding effect take even greater effect. You can see between 10 and 20 years is nearly £220,000 difference. Imagine 30 years, imagine 40 years. If you keep investing like this, you could easily have a portfolio worth £1 million in the future if you stay consistent. That's the main thing, consistency. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you've liked it. Remember to like, subscribe and leave a comment. At Content Apprenticeships, I have a complete guide on how to, do the best in your applications or interviews for internships, for apprenticeships. I've linked a PDF below where it goes through the complete guide on how to get one. If you like this video, please like, and I can make more like this, just let me know. Thank you for watching.